Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to this workshop of ours. Happy Mother's Day to those who are mothers or perhaps who have mothers. Don't forget to send a little message out. So, hey, welcome here today. As per usual, this is going to be a workshop about voice modulation. More precisely, a workshop to help you feminize your voice or to help you masculinize your voice. Depending on where you want to take your voice, you can take some of these methodologies and some of these exercises to, well, shape your voice. Now, let's make something very clear. Voice is very fickle to work with. And most importantly, voice uses what we call the vocal cords, also called vocal folds in the case of the more scientific term. Now, these vocal folds, they're like very fragile things. So you do want to make sure that they always stay properly hydrated. Always drink water at least 10 to 15 minutes before doing any strenuous practice. Not that practice has to be strenuous, but if you do some intense voice work, if you are not hydrated, you can run into the risk of having dry vocal folds that vibrates against each other, sometimes during cycles of a few hundred times per second of opening and closing, and that can cause what we call nodules. Or on the longer run, it can cause irritation, friction that you don't want, and this can make your voice eventually break or sustain long-term damage. So be sure to always drink water when you do practice and use your voice. Now, with that said, something also very important is certain medications that you can take or certain substances that you can take can be very drying to the voice. Typically, if you take spironolactone or antihistamines, these are medications that help you in a certain way. In the case of spironolactone, it helps you with your transition for some of us. And in the case of antihistamines, it helps us with pollen or allergy, hay fever. That's my case personally. So these are things that do dry the voice out. Of course, don't stop taking them just like that. If you take those medications, there's probably a very good reason for why you do so. So be sure to always kind of try to work around those things. If you do take those substances, those medications, be sure not to work in the same time frame. If you take the medication, maybe try to start doing some voice work 1 hour after or something like that. And be sure to hydrate properly. Okay, with that being said, let's talk a little bit about what is voice and how we like to define some of the terminology. So first of all, I'd like to expose to you how voice functions on a very baseline, simple level. We have lungs here, all right? And these will be the power of the voice. Now, once you breathe out air, that air will then move up your trachea, which is the tube connecting your lungs up to your throat, and this will reach the voice box. It will be right behind the bump on your neck. This bump we call the Adam's apple, and it's actually the cartilage part of what we call the larynx. Now, the larynx houses the vocal folds that I was talking about. And once you start having air come below the vocal folds and they're closed enough, they're going to start to vibrate from the bottom to the top. And vibrating fast enough, they start to create pitch, all right? They create a source sound. That source sound will then move up and reverberate in this space, which we call the vocal tract. This vocal tract will act like a resonant chamber. Similarly to a guitar, when you strum the string, you will create a sound which will then reverberate in the big body of the guitar. It's not just for style, it's functional. And so for the voice, it's the same. All of the space in the nose, in the nasal cavity, all the space in the mouth, in the oral cavity is going to be useful and used to create rather bright sounds or rather dark sounds, depending on how you modify that space and that size. Okay? With that being said, let's sum it up again. You push air from your lungs. It sets the vocal folds in motion, and that sound that is produced thanks to the vocal folds in motion ends up reverberating in here. And if you change the size here, have a really big size, you sound very dark, more masculine leaning. And if you have a really small size, you sound really bright, very feminine leaning. All right, that is the power source filter model, explaining a little bit how voice functions on a physical level. Now, let's talk a little bit more precisely what we are going to tackle. So what I just described before is just so that you understand how voice functions a little bit. Now let's talk about what we want to modify when it comes to feminizing or masculinizing the voice. First of all, I don't want to teach you to sound precisely in a certain way. There is various amounts and very different voices in any range, whether it's masculine or feminine. There's not one femme voice and there's not one masc voice, of course. And so the goal here will not be for me to teach you the social expectations of voice. I'm not here to teach you a specific intonation. I'm not here to teach you a specific pitch range or an accent. No, I'm here to teach you what it is that you want to revert or to mimic, and so that you can eventually reach the desired gender presentation of your voice. And that will be coming down to testosterone exposure. Some of us, AMAB, AFAB, or anything in between and different, are exposed to testosterone or not. And even if we have testosterone in our body, it doesn't necessarily mean that we will all be affected by it in the same way. So typically, you might be AFAB and have a lot of testosterone in your body, and it could very much affect your voice, or could also not affect your voice at all, even if you're AMAB. So eventually, it all comes down to who you are as a person and what your voice is like at the start. So why care about the testosterone in the first place? Well, that is because testosterone, when it affects the voice and the vocal tract, does three main things. The first thing it does is that it makes the vocal folds vibrate. The first thing it does is that it will have your larynx drop. So if it's up here, it will drop and create a much bigger space. By creating this bigger space, we now get a much darker voice. Now, the second thing that testosterone does is it makes the vocal folds vibrate a lot slower, allowing us to have really low pitches. And the third thing that testosterone does is that it will create more vocal fold mass in the voice, thus creating a much buzzier, much beefier sound. And this is how you create a masculine voice coming from a femme voice. Or, if you revert all of these three things, you can go to a feminine voice. And that is what I want to teach you today. So, from the top, testosterone does three things. It makes the vocal tract a lot bigger, it makes the pitch a lot lower, and it makes the vocal folds a lot thicker. That's how you can learn to masculinize your voice, if that is what you're looking for. In the case of feminization, well, you're going to want to do the opposite thing. If you have a really buzzy voice, you're going to want to let go of that buzziness and have a much softer sound. If you sound really dark, you're going to want to pursue a smaller size and get thus a brighter sound. Okay? All right. That being said, oops. Okay. I do not know how to open my menu again. For some reason, I'm taking screenshots. Very weird vrchat. It's okay. So, now, as I said before, vocal hygiene is very important. And hydrating your voice is very important to get your voice to function. At least 10 to 15 minutes before you start using your voice. I'm seeing some new faces, so I'm making sure that you all get that. Another very important thing when it comes to vocal hygiene and warm-up is to do some warm-ups. So let's try some of these. You may unmute yourself just for now. And, you're all welcome to try this with me. I'm going to first count to 3, do my thing. And then you try to mimic as best as you can once I count to 3. All right? So I'm going to go first. Oh. And you can try this in 3, 2, 1. All right, very good. Now you can try this with a Z sound. Try Z as in the sound zoo. Let's try this. I go first. And you can try this in 3, 2, 1. All right, very good. Good job. Now that is some vocal warm-up, and you're welcome to do these at least once in the day or before doing some voice practice. It will get your voice up and running, and it gets you all warmed up. Now, with that all said and done, I have no idea what time it is because vrchat is being weird with my headset. Anyways, all right. So, with that being said, let's get started. As per usual, I like to take up on stage 2 people who want to masculinize their voices and 2 people who want to feminize their voices. I'm going to get started with the masc voice users. If you're interested in making your voice more masculine, jump in place, raise your hand, or use the hand emoji. All right. Levy Bean, have you ever been on the stage before? Nope. All right, come up on stage. Come on, come on, come on. You can go to the right side, to the left side. Pick your side. Everyone, give a big round of applause to Lavi Bean. All right. Hello there.
Hello.
Hello. All right. We got 8. No, wait. I'm getting the timer up. We're going to get 8 minutes starting from now. All right. So, Lavi or Bean, what do I call you?
You can call me whatever you want.
All right, whatever you want. So, what does whatever you want like to practice?
You can call me.
Okay. Sorry. Sorry, Lavi, yes.
Oh, you can, I want to figure out how to speak more masculine, if that makes sense.
Absolutely does. All right, let's kind of try and gauge what your range is like. How about you give me a slide from your highest pitch down to your lowest pitch? Give it a try.
I can't do it's, so I can do, I can't do it. So.
You don't need to go crazy high. Just start wherever is comfortable. Very good. All the way down to F3. Very good. We got some range. All right. Now, the second thing I want to do is going to be about vocal tract size. Remember what I said about it? It's like you want to make the size really small or really big. In the case of masculinizing your voice, you want to get a much bigger size. So you see, I do a lot of that motion with my hand, and quite literally, this is what physically happens. If on your neck you have your larynx at a certain spot, it can be really high and leave a very small space, thus a very bright voice comes out. But in your case, you want to make your voice more masculine. So you're going to want to have a much bigger space to work with so that you sound a lot darker. So to achieve this, we're going to use what we call voiceless exercises. In this case, it's basically just a whisper. Can you just whisper for me the word hello? Something like hello with no voice behind it. Very good. That is voiceless. The vocal folds are not vibrating. It's just the air passing through them. So what happens if we do this? Hello, 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 hello. We get kind of a gradient of pitch. And that's what we want to get. It's not exactly pitch because the vocal folds are not vibrating, but we hear a perceptual difference. So let's try this. I want you to say the words pat that cat on the whisper. Pat that cat. Okay, let's do something really quick. Make sure that your sound settings are set so that you do not have any noise suppression turned on. So please put
Can you
noise
hear me
suppression
now?
off. Yes, I can hear you just fine. Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright, perfect. Cool. Let's try this. Pat that cat.
Pet that cat.
Very good. Now let's make the pat darker. Pat, pat,
Pot, pot, pot.
Pet, 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 pet.
Careful not to engage voice. Pat that. Yes. Very good. Now you went from a pa to a pa, right? Did you hear it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's like a melody. Instead of going da 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 da, we go pa 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 pa.
That
Try it
makes
again.
sense.
Mm-hmm. Very good. All right. So I achieved a much darker
Pot sound.
right? So, you don't have VR here, but what I want you to do is take your hand in real life and put it at the level of your neck. Don't push down, just rest it gently on your neck.
Okay.
Now, can you feel a bump on your neck? It might be more or less prominent, but you should feel a little bump.
A little, yeah.
Very good. Now, I want you to give me that really bright pat again.
Pet.
All right. And you still have your hand on your neck. Whilst you do, you're gonna track how your Adam's apple moves, how your larynx moves up or down, and you're gonna do pat, pat.
Pot, pot, pot.
Pet, 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 pet. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to whisper.
It's all right.
Trying.
It takes time. It's exploring your body and your voice.
Mm-hmm.
One step at a time.
Pot, pot.
Very good. Now, with your hand still in your neck, did you feel the Adam's apple move up or down?
Where it was resting down. From up to down.
All right, very good. So it was kind of resting sort of high-ish in your neck, and it went a little bit down. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, as to be expected. With practice, you might find even more drastic drops. Pat, pat. Right? So it's up to you to kind of like practice that whisper exercise and see how far down you can go and how dark you can achieve of a voice. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Now we're gonna try yet another thing. We got whispers. So the vocal folds are completely open. We want a normal sounding voice. Well, by normal I mean just a voice like that. Technically you could speak on a whisper. But no one really talks in a whisper all the time. I mean, some people might, but that's different. You want a whisper. And when you speak normally, you're here. You're on a balanced sound. Do you actually see the I can't
Board?
think right now.
Yes,
Yes, the board. Thank you. You got all the words for me. Perfect. Lovely. All right. So we got pat that cat. It's all whispers. The vocal folds are not closed. So we're gonna try this. Pat that cat. We're gonna close the vocal folds from the whisper. Try it out.
Okay.
Very good. Now that was very fast.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, don't be sorry. Now, the thing is, there is 3 steps here. The whisper, breathy, when the vocals are starting to vibrate, but there's still a lot of air passing through them, right? And then full closure, pa, where they're vibrating. And no air is leaking, no air is being lost. Let's try it again. Step by step. Whisper, breathy, yes. And fully closed. Yes, very good. And now we're gonna try the same, but starting from a darker whisper. You started from a bright, or like from your resting position whisper, right? That yields a more feminine leaning voice. Now, what happens if we get a really dark pat to start?
Pat that cat.
Okay.
Do you want to give that a try? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Wait.
Take your time.
Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Alright, very good. You get a much hollower sound from pat that cat to
Pat that cat.
it's kind of like you're yawning, because it is. When you yawn, your larynx drops and you get a
Bigger, darker sound.
Another way to practice getting a darker sound is to yawn.
Pat that cat. Very, very dark, very big space.
If you can manage to do that, that's another way to practice darkness. Okay?
Okay.
Now the goal would be to get really dark and then get a lower pitch.
Pat that cat.
Do you want to try that?
So you did the. And then.
Very good. E3, good pitch.
Uh,
Then you do the pat thing. Yeah.
Pat that cat.
Yes, just like that.
Okay.
That's generally it. Yeah.
Pat that cat, right? Yeah.
I'm
There's-
just. I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
okay. I get it. You're up on stage, but you still slayed it. Like you got that first sound here.
Pat that cat, right?
So it's something for you to explore, to practice with and around, and eventually build up from. Then get more strength of it from
Pat that cat to pat that cat.
something more boomy and well, that sounds really solemn and all, but it's up to practice and all that. So remember the tools we have. We want to reach a dark whisper. Pat, pat, pat.
Pat, pat.
Once we do so, we also want to have on the side in our head, we remember a low pitch. So, like da 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 da. For example, here I'm on E3. It's a pitch that works well in a masked voice,
Ashes to ashes.
but also in a femme voice. Ashes to ashes. So it's a good comparison point to compare with your own femme voice, your own starting voice. And yeah, that's how you get to practice all of this. Okay. All right.
that makes sense.
Very good stuff. Best of luck for your practice. Hope to see you around in those workshops. And everyone, please give a big round of applause for Lavi Bean. Woo! Okay. Next up on stage, I'd like to have someone who wants to learn to feminize their voices, who might be interested. Oh, I hear a lot of people jumping already. Okay. I was looking at the right for once. I'm sorry, left squad. All right. Electro Slicer, you want to feminize your voice? Yes. Come up on stage. All right. Everyone, give a big round of applause to Electro Slicer. All right. Hello there. Hi. So, you want to learn to feminize your voice, correct?
Yes.
All right. Awesome. If I may, let's first start with the timer. All right. 8 minutes starting from now. If I may, I hear something already in your voice. You've been practicing a bit, haven't you?
I have. I've been playing as well this. Trying to get it down, but I decided 2 days ago that I would transition.
Oh, wow, really? Like it's that recent?
Yeah.
All right, congrats! All right, sorry. Electroslicer. Perfect. Let's talk about voice feminization then. So have you already looked up online some resources to transition, not transition, but to feminize your voice? And you've done some work on your voice a little bit. So do you know a little bit of the methodology or the terminology we use here?
I don't. I sat there and looked up a little bit, but I found it to be too confusing and overwhelming.
All right. Very simply, you have an Adam's apple. Take your hand in real life, put it on your neck. You can feel a bump there, right?
Yeah.
All right. That bump is basically responsible for housing your vocal folds. Very important, do not remove. Now, that bump can move up or down. You might have noticed when you swallow, it moves up and it engages a bunch of muscles. Don't swallow and hold. That's a bad method. If you find it online, avoid it at all costs. But if you yawn, for example, it will drop all the way down. These are different things you can try for yourself to kind of gauge how it can move. It can only move up or down. And as it does, it can change how dark or how bright your voice sounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with your hand still on your neck, I want you to give me a really dark whisper, like Darth Vader dark.
And Darth Vader says, "Pat that cat."
Give it a try.
Pat that cat.
Very good. Did it feel like your bump on your neck, your larynx, was lower or higher than usual?
Pat that cat.
It was lower.
That's correct. Now, as it moves down, you get,
Pat a really dark sound.
right? Now we'd like
Yeah.
to go the other way around, getting a brighter sound. Let's try this.
Pa, pa.
Give it a try. All right. You just jumped for it. Pat that cat. I didn't hear specifically the slide. Perhaps your mic cut it off, or perhaps I was just like, that's too easy. I'm just jumping for it, honestly. Whatever you did, that was good. It's okay. You're doing great. Now, okay. That's how you can get a brighter voice. But from what I'm hearing, you already incorporate that in your voice fairly naturally. So maybe we can skip that technicality in your case. Let's try this. I want to try and get you to read some sentences. Has the slide loaded for you yet?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. I want you to read that very first sentence for me in your current voice. Give it a try.
Hello. Good morning. How are you?
Interesting. Hello. Good morning. How are you? So here we get a lot of different things. See, voice feminization and just voice gender modification is not about suddenly getting the sound and unlocking it. It's more about getting it to sound consistently feminine all across. It's a matter of time, right? Quality over time. In your case, hello, good morning, how are you? I would say like from good morning to how are, it's all very femme. But at the start, it struggles to get there. And at the end, it kind of dips back into something more masculine sounding for different reasons. So let's talk about those things. Can you say just hello, good morning once more?
You said just say have a good morning?
Oh, yeah, just hello, good morning. Just the first part of the sentence
Okay.
again, please. Yeah.
Hello, good morning.
All right. Now this time you took the pitch higher up. So we didn't have the issue of the hello, good morning. So we had hello, good morning, right? So already you know that bringing your pitch higher up just generally puts you more into that feminine range. That's generally by accident because as we go to higher pitches, we have a tendency to bring our larynx higher as those things work better together. But, you know, we want to make sure that it doesn't drop at the end. So let's try the how are you part again. How are you? Try it out.
How are you?
Okay, very good. How are you? Do ending on a pitch like you. C sharp 3, fairly low, but you did stay very bright. All right, very good. So you're already fixing your voice by yourself. Let's try the other sentences. Let's see if those issues arise again. Try the next one.
I'll have a cup of coffee, please.
Interesting. I'll have a cup of coffee, please. Now, your voice was a little bit buzzy there at the end. Try to make it a bit softer. I'll have a cup of coffee, please. Try that.
I'll have a cup of coffee, please.
Awesome. You did change the intonation a bit. I would say it's cheating, but I mean, you avoided the buzziness, so that's all right. Try the next sentence.
I forgot to take my hormones.
Very good. Awesome. Next sentence.
Are you really sure about that?
Very good. Next sentence.
I think I have a craving for pickles.
I think I have a craving for pickles. I feel like that was a bit low. Oh, yeah. We're reaching pitches like B2. Now, okay. Do you know a little bit about music theory or just about pitches like C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C? Is that something you're familiar with?
Singing.
You love singing, perfect. It does show up with how much control you have over your voice. So, if you know about this, let me expose this little thing to you. All right. New slide loaded. Do you see this?
Mm-hmm.
All right, awesome. So careful, these are common socially gendered ranges. Statistically, most people will tend to talk in these ranges. It does not mean that you have to talk specifically in these ranges if you want to be feminine or in these ranges if you want to be masculine. So let's talk about those. In the case of that sentence you said, I forgot what it was. It was whatever, like it's almost if you say like hello, how are you, you ended up on B2. Okay, so it's a pitch that is very much in the middle of the masculine range. Now technically you can talk around B2 all the time and have a very feminine voice, right? Like that works, but it's not most feminine voices. It's what I would call like a more mature feminine voice, and one that even in mature women is often reached. You'll hear that a lot more in voice actresses and in exceptionally low feminine voices. So going for this is a statement, but it also is a bit dangerous in our case because we also know how to do these pitches in a very masculine manner. Oh, so that B2 can very much be in a feminine manner or
In a really masculine manner.
and that's the exact same pitch. I just changed how big or how small the vocal tract is, aka how high or how low your Adam's apple is. Okay? And so as we go lower and lower and lower and lower and lower in pitch, we put ourselves at the risk of making the voice more and more darker and of getting the vocal folds to vibrate more and more thick, thus eventually dipping back to a masculine range, right? So two things can be done. Either you make the extra effort of thinking for yourself, if I go down in pitch, I want to be really careful to really make my voice soft and to keep my size really small. Or if I feel that I'm going to go lower in pitch, I go back up and I avoid lower pitches altogether. That's the other way to go around. And that's how you've mostly fixed the issues in the case of intonation, right? You have jumped back to higher pitches to avoid all those pitfalls. So it's up to you to choose. Do you like to rock a lower feminine voice that sounds a bit more warm and still really bright and soft at lower pitches? Or do you like to go for higher pitches and achieve a femme voice that generally plays around a bit more at higher pitches? That is entirely up to you. Different goals, different strategies. What's your choice?
More bright and cheery and yeah, bright and cheery.
Bright and cheery. All right. To be more bright and cheery, I think you wanted to say like something like more emotion, right? generally you'd like to use higher pitches in your range. So how about you give me a slide from your lowest to your highest pitch? Oh, give it a try.
Oh.
Beautiful. Oh, all right. Now you can go up to oh, A4. Beautiful. So you
I
could
can
try
go a
something
little
like,
higher. It's a struggle.
I bet you can, but in that case, you don't really need to go that much higher. It's stylistic at the end of the day, but given that you generally spend more time, where is it? Here we go. Given that you spend a lot of time here, when it's about your femme voice, you generally spend it here, but you can go up to here with the pitch range you've shown me easily, right? That's not without you pushing up to C5 and such. So there's all of this that you're not using yet, right? So I want you to mimic right after me. Let's try just one sentence and then we will be done for now. So just mimic after me. Call and response kind of mimicry, okay? Uh,
Uh,
uh, beautiful. All right, let's try this. Hello, good morning.
hello, good morning.
All right, let's try this now. And now it started falling. Hello, good morning. I know, it's a stretch. You got this, you got this. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Beautiful, awesome. And let's try this. Let's spice it up. Instead of saying, I'll have a cup of coffee, please. Let's try, I'll have a cup of coffee, please.
I'll have a cup of coffee, please.
Awesome, there you go. Super easy. Good job. See, so just don't be afraid to use higher pitches. And, I think at the end of the day, you like using your voice. Maybe you might want to look into voice acting. Who knows? Just have fun with your voice, please. You might unlock different voices. A really low, mature femme voice. You kind of already have that. Just be careful with the lower pitches as they can trigger your masc voice again. Then there's like a more medium range voice. And then there's like higher pitched cheery voices that you can go for. And it's entirely up to you to explore those, make them yours. Okay? Best of luck with your practice. I'll see you around, Electro Slicer. Everyone give a big round of applause to Electro Slicer. Next up, on stage, I want someone who wants to make their voices more masculine. Who might be interested? All right, Morihiro, have you ever been on stage before?
No.
Yes? No? You haven't? All right, come up on stage. Come on.
Not really.
All right, big applause for Morihiro.
I'm nervous
hi.
and I can't do the whisper thing, so.
Oh no, what do you mean? You can't do the whisper thing.
Yeah, I cannot reach a lower pitch of like the whisper.
The whisper. What happens?
But I
if
can
you
do the yawning
whisper?
one.
Ah, very good. The yawning way works. All right. I want to hear like a slide from your highest pitch down
I
to your
can
lowest
try,
pitch.
okay.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm nervous.
Take your time. I'm starting the timer now. Okay. Okay, I feel I've heard that melody somewhere before. G3. Okay. Okay. Let's try this one once more. I feel like your voice cut off. Make sure that your voice settings are set up so that you have noise suppression disabled.
Okay, hold on.
Yep. Take your time.
Yeah, it's disabled, but hold on, let me like fix my threshold. So
Yes, threshold to 0%. Yep.
all right,
Oh, so G sharp 3.
Okay. Very good, very good. Can you read that first sentence for me? That hello, good morning, how are you sentence.
all right, hold on. Hello, good morning. How are you?
Wait, hello, good morning, how are you? So, you lied to me. You can go lower than G3. No, how are you? You can go down to E3.
Well,
Okay.
I could do
Yeah.
the whole hi, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, of course. Hi, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, I can do.
Hi. Okay. Wow, crazy. I didn't think you had it in you, but you do. Beautiful. Okay. So you can go down to E3. I meant this more in a way that, like, when it comes to pitch sliding, it feels like maybe like thinking of it like as an exercise kind of like locks you at like higher pitches. Whereas if you start to speak, kind of like the more natural side of your voice kicks back in and you can like make your voice go to lower pitches, right? Maybe it's the same thing for whispers. They don't feel like normal voice to you, and you kind of struggle to reach those darker sounds. But with yawning, it's more natural, so you can get those darker sounds. Would that sound about where you are at,
Yeah.
kind of?
Yeah, oh
Yeah.
my god.
How dark?
Yeah, oh my god. Oh no, oh no.
Oh no, why is my voice sounding so masculine? Hold the horror. Oh no.
Okay. Whew, you've done some practice with your voice, haven't you?
Yeah, I from like really young I wanted to be masculine, so I just done it. Cause I used to
Yeah.
sound like an anime girl, I'm not even gonna lie to you.
No, no. Well, what a range then. That's beautiful. Okay, so
No. So like G3.
all right, I want you to mimic right after me. Ah,
So you're a bit darker. Good. Ah, let me tune here. Ah.
all right, let's try this. Ah,
ah.
Nice.
and let's try from this pitch.
Ah.
Oh god, that's gonna be harder, but
It's okay. So you started back up here.
I know I
Oh,
messed up a little bit.
it's okay. Let's try this again. Oh.
Uh,
Ah.
uh,
Oh, okay, you do a full jump. Oh, okay, that pitch again. Oh,
uh,
oh,
uh,
beautiful. Keep it up. Again. Oh,
uh,
all right. Oh, and now. Oh,
uh.
yeah, you're doing it. Oh, let's keep going down. Oh, you got it.
I'm gonna try.
What's up?
Uh,
Oh, okay. F sharp 3 G3. Oh, we're still staying at those higher pitches. I think I kind of need to catch your voice when you're finishing a sentence. Let's try this. Can you read the sentence for me? I'll have a cup of coffee.
Please.
And try to do
I'll have a
one
cup of
pitch.
coffee, please.
Please. My god.
Okay.
I'll have a cup of coffee, please.
Okay. So that sound here you did at the end.
I talk fast, so I can read it slowly. I'll
No,
have a
no.
cup of coffee, please.
Okay, please. That's an E3. Can you then hold that E sound here at the end? I'll have a cup of coffee, please. Try that.
I'll have a cup of coffee, please.
Ah, nice. And you ended higher. I'll have a cup of coffee, please. Okay. It was less no, like it was less spontaneous. So like, I'll have a cup of coffee, please. So it was
I
like a
sound,
lot
I
higher.
suppose, more joyous when I'm singing, and it kind of felt like singing.
I mean, you are a bird, and birds are pretty happy when they sing. I can give you that much. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I'll I'll have a cup of coffee, please.
Oh god, I lagged. I'm
Oh.
sorry.
It's okay. Just look away. It's gonna be less intensive on you. So you don't load everyone. I'll have a cup of coffee, please.
Okay, I'll have a cup of coffee, please.
F3. Okay, better. All right. So it's something. Have you ever practiced with pitch monitors before, like apps
No.
that tell you what pitch you have? I really recommend that. You then will have like a more conscious connection between your voice, your pitch, basically. That is what you want to be doing. Right now, it's kind of like more spontaneous, and it kind of works in your favor when you don't really think about it. But when you start to think about your voice more, well, like more hands-on, it kind of like goes generally for higher pitches and whatnot, and so on and so forth. And mostly like your masculinization, in the case of your voice, has mostly happened through, well, you always knew you were masculine, and so you like kind of always pursued it, kind of like as a second nature thing, right? So yeah, I would recommend for you to practice. That's not now, but like to practice with like a pitch monitor software, and like kind of look as you use your pitch, see how far down you can go. The lowest I've heard you go was like E3. With practice, I'm sure you could go even lower than that. Just like you got to become conscious of this, right? Like we had like a lot of cases where we're like, like here in the case of you're like at G3, but like in the case of I'll have a cup of coffee, please. You like even end up as like as far as stop, help, okay, I'll have a cup of coffee, please. You end up as far down as E3, right? In terms of darkness, I mean, your voice sounds pretty dark by default. Like, I'm always surprised by how boomy your voice sounds. Like, I'll have a cup of coffee, please. I'm like, here I am, like, from a femme voice. I'm like, I have to adapt every time to kind of mimic your voice. I'm like, I'll have a cup of coffee. Oh, you're right, much bigger. So, like, I don't think I have to, like, teach you that too much. I mean, for the heck of it, let's try it. Can you give me, like, the darkest, biggest yawn you can give me?
Okay.
So tired. Okay. And once you do this, can you like put your hand on your neck and can you feel how your Adam's apple moves down?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Do you feel
I
like your Adam's
practiced
apple?
doing that as well.
Nice. Okay. Do you feel like your Adam's shoots back up when you release the yawn?
No, it normally goes up when you stop, of course, because you're not like using your voice at all. So
Right. Of course. So once you do that yawn, can you then like try to keep it there? Not with your hand, but like with the motion you did with the yawn. And then say, I'll have a cup of coffee, please. Try it out.
I'll have a cup of coffee, please.
Oh, wow. I'll have a cup of coffee, please. And now if you add the intonation you added before, I'll have a cup of coffee, please. Try it out.
Oh shit.
Shh, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
I'll have a cup of coffee, please. Oh shit.
Oh my gosh, beautiful. I'll have a cup of coffee, please. You ended back down on that low pitch E3 with that really dark sound. Really, really good. I'll have a cup of coffee, please. Nice, beautiful. Okay, you got it in you. So, I think honestly, like your voice sounds already very dark by default, and you can go like quite easily to low pitches. It's really up to you to make that practice more conscious and take control of your voice rather than the other way around. I mean, not really that like your voice is not like really, really high up there and like anime voice, as you said before.
Actually, it's not, but it could be.
Like it's not here, but like exactly.
Like, it's
So-
not here, but
Like, I mean, it could be, you know?
It could be, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so let me get you some apps here. Do you have an Android phone, iOS phone?
Ooh. Android.
Ooh. All right, I recommend this one, best one. I mean, not sponsored, but just generally free app. Plus, you get to see your pitch like in line. So, like, if you do, "I'll have a cup of coffee, please," it's like gonna draw you like a very nice staircase going down in pitch, and also has like a little record function, so you can then press play back from your own voice, and it's gonna play the pitches again. So it's a really good tool for you to monitor your pitch. Okay, a vocal pitch monitor. Sounds good. You okay? I think you're lagging a bit. Yep.
I'm sorry, I lagged again. But thank
It's
you.
okay, no worries. You're welcome. All right. Well, Mori Hero, really good stuff. Keep it up. You are killing it. I'm scared to see how far down you'll go in the future. No, but positively scared, of course. So yeah, do keep up the practice, and please, everyone, give a big round of applause to Mori Hero. Woo! Okay. And now up on stage, I want someone who wants to feminize their voices. I'll take someone. Okay, I think I saw you jump first. Then Astari. Come up on stage. Come on. All right, everyone get a big round of applause to Then Astari. Okay, all right. Hello, Ven. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Wow, so tall. You seem so so small back there. All right. Let us get started. So, voice, right? First time that you are here in one of those workshops?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's get started. We got 8 minutes starting from now. Perfect. So, you want to feminize your voice. Perfect. Have you read anything online before? Or is this completely new to you?
It's semi sort of kind of new. I've been given some advice in person, but the advice was the swallowing thing, and you said not to do that, so.
Don't do that one. That's bad. Generally speaking, because when you swallow, what happens? You actually don't, you close off the tube to your lungs, so you start to choke. Because when you swallow, it makes things go in your stomach, and you don't speak of your stomach generally unless you burp. And that's kind of gross. And I'm not here about feminizing burps. I mean, you know, anyways. So let's get this started. I want you to give me a slide from your
Lowest pitch up to
your highest pitch. Give it a try. Right, very good. So you did from here. Wait, that's A free. That's here actually. Okay, so you can go all the way up to what would be socially, generally, statistically be the middle of the thumb range. Very good. And if you kind of, could you try to go higher from there? Like, going all the way up to here. There you go. Okay, so you have all of that range available. Maybe that part is something where you might have like a little break. Right? The break between like your higher range and the lower range of your voice. That's okay. Now let's try to make your vocal tract a lot smaller to get a brighter voice. So I want you to say pat that cat on a whisper.
pat that cat.
Beautiful. And now I want you to try to say just pat, but you're going to try to go from a dark pat to a bright pat, like this.
Pat.
Pat, pat, pat.
pat, 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 cat.
Very good. So now you went from
Pot.
to pat, right? So you made your whisper a lot brighter. Try this again,
Pot, pot, pot.
pat, but putting your hand on your neck to kind of see how your Adam's apple moves up or down. Don't press down, just gently rest over it. Do you feel the bump? All right, perfect. Now,
Pot.
pat, 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 pat that cat.
Pot, pat, 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 cat.
Beautiful. Pat that cat. Then you have a really bright whisper. Now, what I want to do is close the vocal folds so as to achieve a balanced sound. First, I want you to match my pitch. All right, let's try this. Match my pitch here. Beautiful. Your version is a bit darker. Our goal will be to get that darker version. All right, so let's try this. Pat that cat. Let's do this back and forth.
Pot.
Pat, pat, pat.
Pat, 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 pat.
All right. Pat that cat.
Pat, that cat.
Beautiful. The whisper didn't do pout, so that's good. Now from here, pat that cat. Try it out.
Pat, pat, that cat.
Beautiful. Awesome. Now, as you did the whisper, you might have noticed there's a little bit of a drop here. Pat that cat. So it went a little bit darker as you did the transition into the balanced sound. Be sure that the whisper sounds bright all the way across. Let's try this again. Let's make sure we get a really bright, breathy sound. So, not. Let's try this again. Okay, let's go a bit slower and let's go for the brightest we can.
Pat, 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 pat.
Oh, careful. Now, one thing that you want to do is with the whispers is be really careful not to stress them too much. A really stressed whisper, pat, pat, cat, can make your vocal folds be dry really quick. And that goes for all of you, whether you masculinize or feminize your voice. Whispers are drying to the voice. They're a tool to explore your voice, not to, use all the time. It's just so that you can kind of like feel the larynx move up or down. Okay? So you can make whispers a bit safer for you by by using less air. So instead of doing pot, pot, pat, pat, trying to use less air, like pot, pot, pat, much quieter and much easier on your voice. Let's try it again.
Pat, 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 pat.
Good. Does it feel as hard on your voice as before?
No.
Very good. All right. And even then, I think you could do even quieter in the future, right? Breathing less air out. All right. Now that you have this really bright pat, I want you to try something interesting. You're going to jump from that really bright pat, back to the really dark pat.
Pot.
Pat.
Pot.
Pat. Try it out.
Pat, pot.
Very good.
Pat,
All right. So what this builds is the ability to jump back and forth between a really small size and a really big size. Pat,
Pot.
right? Pat, pat, pat.
Pot. Pot. Pot.
And if you kept your hand on your neck, you would feel that it was like jumping high, low, high, low, high, low. Right? Okay. Now let's jump back to the bright one. Pats.
Pat.
Beautiful. And let's close the vocal folds now very slowly. Don't push the air too hard. Pat, that, cat. Try it out. Whoop.
Pat, that cat.
Beautiful. Awesome. Now let us try to practice this on certain sentences. Has it loaded for you?
Yep.
Awesome. So then from here, you want to try this again, but this time on the word that. So that, that, that. And then that mad brat sat on that flat mat. Give it a try.
Oof, sorry.
Step by step. Bright that.
Pat.
Okay, pat. Now say that instead.
That.
All right. So you have like that. Now you could try to scale it up a little bit.
That.
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 Good. Much brighter than before. Okay. Don't hesitate to scale them back up if you feel like they're not as bright as they could be. And then from this, that again.
That.
Very good. We close the vocal folds. That.
That.
Beautiful. That mad brat sat.
That's my breath sat.
Okay. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad breath sat on that flat mat.
Now you might hear that it's a bit more like that mad brat sat instead of that mad brat sat. So that means that when you jumped from the really whispered bright that, at some point you lost a little bit of the height of your Adam's apple. It might have dropped a little bit, dealing that maybe a bit darker sound, that mad brat. Okay? So with practice, you can practice like the whispers here a little bit and bridging them from that whisper into the full voice and finding that back. So then from here, that mad brat sat on that flat mat. You can then try to modify the pitch. That mad brat sat on that flat mat and then get a normal voice. The monotony allows us to really listen for the quality, right, of the sound. And I chose a sentence that has only the ah sound so we can really hear if we get that mad brat or that mad brat really bright. Or what if you reach that really bright sound and you get that mad brat sat on that flat mat and it starts to drop to a darker sound over time, right? So just practice that stuff here with the whisper scale. Practice bridging it slowly into a balanced voice from the whisper, making sure that if you hear that trail off in the whisper, then you already lost your voice in the whisper. Then you get the second step, which is the whisper, the breathy state. Whisper. Breathy, which is like a mix of full phonation, but also there's still some air leaking. You can hear here, there. That mad brat, or that mad brat. If you hear it drop in the whisper, on the breathy sound, then you know to start again from the top. And once you reach good whisper, good breathy sound, you can keep going. And then you get a really bright, balanced sound. Then you're good to go and use your voice in a sentence. Okay? All right. Best of luck with your practice. Then be sure to practice some of these exercises. Do some recordings of your voice. Listen back to yourself because, you kind of need to listen back to your voice, kind of like create that feedback loop, right? I produce a sound, I listen to that sound, I judge that sound. Is it really dark? Is it really bright? Is it really soft? Is it really heavy? Is it really high in pitch?
Is it really low in pitch?
And all these qualities will make you judge your voice or critique your voice in a certain way that will help you then further tailor it up to the goal voice you have. You want to pursue a voice that's really bright, that has a really high pitch, or not really, really high pitch, but pitches from like E3 and above are just fine to use. And then a softer voice, your voice is already soft by default, so I think it's a non-issue in your case, but you never know. Do watch out for that. All right, best of ever practice. I hope to see you around for more of these workshops. And everyone, please give a big round of applause to the Asari. Woo!
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I am afraid our time is now up, everyone. So I'll, however, be answering some questions in the audience at the very least. So first, do we have some audience on Discord or Twitch that have asked any questions during the session? Yes, 1B, do we have any?
Yes. So the first we have two questions. So the first one is from Zany, and she asks, "How can I feminize my voice when I go into a higher pitch and move my Adam's apple up? Since I somewhat achieve a feminine sound, but I still end up with a nasally dark resonance that sounds like it's coming from my nose. My goal is to achieve a dark feminine voice."
A dark feminine voice. It's kind of opposite concepts. Okay, not really. So a dark feminine voice. So again, I said there's like a lot of different feminine voices that can exist, right? You can have like really high pitched, really bright voices. You can have like high pitches but slightly darker voices. Then you can have like medium range voices. I would say that's kind of where mine is sitting at. And then you have like lower pitched voices, and they can maybe sound a bit darker because as we go down to lower pitches, we don't need as much brightness in our voices. It's kind of natural to have a little bit less brightness, a little bit of a bigger size. I think that's maybe what you are referring to. Now, a high-pitched dark voice, that generally is very rare, or the only occurrence that you will hear of it is like, I think a good example would be like evil anime laugh, like the or like it's really dark, like you can tell like it's really dark, right? Instead of like a which is like much brighter, and it's still both at really high pitches. So I kind of struggle to see exactly what the darker femme voice would sound like. Maybe if you can like forward me a voice clip or something that like resembles to what you're looking for in the hashtag voice training channel, I might give you a better answer. But in the case of nasality, that is definitely an issue. I'm not sure if you mistake nasality for buzziness. I'm going to assume you don't. So in the case of nasality, there are certain things that you can do to avoid nasality. Typically, one of the things I like to do when it comes to practicing voice is to use the word pat, because when you use the word pat, you basically close off the you close off the passage to the nose. I think 1B, you're the one streaming this. Has the slide shown up yet? Yep, thank you. So when you do a P sound, you basically are forced to close off the passageway to the nose, which we call the velum. And so the velum, when you do a P, when you do a P sound, you need to build up air in your mouth. Same for the B sound. So B and P are sounds that we use to build up air in our mouth, and then we get plosive sounds. It's explosive, right? And so when you build up air in your mouth, you close off the passageway to the nose. And so you're pretty much sure that you're not being nasal. So maybe start your sentences with P sounds or B sounds, as in bat or pat. That can be very helpful. And then you can kind of like try certain sounds like the ah or the oo or the ah, which are all sounds that can portray either the or the on, which are French sounds typically, but these are nasalized vowels, which are vowels that happen when the sound goes both out of the mouth and out of the nose at the same time. Because yes, you can breathe out of those two holes at the same time. I know it's crazy. The human body is crazy. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. That was a bit long of an answer, but yeah. On the question of achieving a darker, higher feminine voice, be sure to follow up with like some voice example, and I'll take a listen once I get off VR. All right. What's the other question, 1B?
Okay, so Kisara asks, when starting with a default masc voice, when going up in pitch, there is a point at which the sound breaks or becomes croaky and then switches to an airy/thin as you try to go higher. Why does this happen, and how to try to overcome this when targeting higher/softer pitch feminine vocal tones?
Ooh, that was a lot of different terms. So first of all, default masculine voices, hard to say what is a default masculine voices. Like,
This is a default masculine voice.
This is also technically a default masculine voice.
you know, so it kind of depends on where you're starting from. But I'm going to assume you start
Very dark, with generally more vocal fold mass, and generally at like a lower pitch.
And so with those lower pitches with more vocal fold mass, there is a tendency to use more mass. And so as you go higher in pitch, the vocal folds vibrate faster and faster and faster and faster. And so you either get like the voice break or the croakiness. So like as your voice tries to adapt to those higher pitches. And so this is a very common phenomenon that is described as the passaggio in classical singing. We also call this it's a very scientific, loaded term, like bifurcation of the vocal folds. Basically, you're switching from one type of mechanism to another. More simply put, you're like going up in pitch on heavier vocal folds. All right, I'm oversimplifying it because we don't really have the time to discuss this in depth, but you're moving up in pitch with really heavy weight. And it breaks because as you reach higher pitches, your voice kind of gives up and has to like let go of a lot of mass. And you kind of voice break into like this kind of like very airy, thin sound. And that's to be expected. So what you can try and do for reaching those higher pitches is to like start really soft and gentle. Again, that's assuming you start with a really
Heavy masculine voice, right?
If that's not the case, then the problem might be different. That's why it's a bit hard to answer. So starting from like a really buzzy, quote unquote, default masculine voice, you might instead want to try on a softer masculine voice. So
Still like really low in pitch, really dark, big vocal tract size, and then slowly moving up.
you might hear that the break doesn't happen as strongly, that it maybe doesn't creak or croak. And yeah, that might be helpful to practice at first. And then once you can do those things back and forth, you can then slowly bring back up more vocal fold mass, a bit more loudness, and then become more and more comfortable with moving between those ranges. Whoop, I don't know what I bumped. Right, with a somewhat normal volume over time. All right, hope that answers your question. All right. Do we have other Discord questions, or are we good on those?
Yeah, new questions are starting to come up, but I'm not too sure. Like, would you like to answer more of them?
Okay. What time is it? I'll answer like 2 more questions.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Okay.
So this question is from I don't know which part of their name to read, but they ask if you have been trying to achieve a female voice for about 18 to 24 months and have been failing, does that mean you are not able to do it believably? Is it better to give up and not waste more time?
That's a very strange question. Depends on what methodology you've been using, depends on how often you've been practicing, depends on a lot of factors. I mean, like, there is always rare cases where you might actually have an issue with your voice, like, you know, there's things like puberphonia, where, for example, you never develop enough mass and you kind of like keep the same vocal weight that you have when you're like really young, like so there's like some issues, or you could be a smoker, and even if you're not a smoker, there's always like the chance that, or not the chance, but rather the opposite, like that you have undergone some accident where your vocal folds would be burned or whatever. I've seen a lot of things in my time of like working with different voices, so perhaps there is a problem. If there is nothing that, like, if your voice, your baseline voice sounds normal, and if your range is rather normal, I would say there's still hope for you to try and practice. You know, and if there is something that might feel off, like your voice is really like locked in a certain range, I would at least try to see like an SLP, so a speech and language pathologist, even better yet, a laryngologist, so they can like put a camera down your throat and actually see if there is something wrong, because there could be something wrong. Again, that's really hard to say without hearing your voice, without knowing your background, without knowing what you use for practicing. So it's a very simple question, but has like a lot of different ways to be answered. So I would say don't give up. There's always ways to practice. And yeah, like just shoot me a message and I'll try to help you a little bit on that. Okay. And you said lots more questions are popping up. How many more in Discord do we got? 1B, I kind of wanted to answer one or two from the audience at the very least, so...
Just one more.
Let's do that one more, and then I'll take one question from the audience.
Okay, I need to look at... I need to find it. Okay. The question is from Waf. How does one stop themselves from yelling while changing pitch?
Oh, okay. Don't. Okay, that's the worst answer. I'm kidding, of course. If you end up yelling, that means that the configuration of your vocal folds is not optimal and you're forcing your voice through the wall of pitch, right? Like, right? Like you're forcing your voice out, you're forcing yourself to be really loud. That's not very good because you are relying on strength rather than like a reliable soft phonation. Very similar thing to what I described for the other person who had like a really thin croaky voice when going up to higher pitches, is to use much less air. If the voice doesn't want to happen, then you might want to like start looking at finding more closure, right? So something like and if the voice cuts here, like not high, like not high at all, then you might want to like do little taps, like to help the vocal folds close again. Or you could use also creak, like because creak is what happens when the vocals are really close, but they don't have enough air to produce a proper full voice. And then, you know, use that creak to find more closure with your voice, more closure with your vocal folds, and then slowly move up. The key is to never push your voice hard, right? You always want to nudge your voice up, never force it up, right? You're not trying to like bang your head or your voice against the wall. You're trying to like slowly climb it, and you're slowly finding the ways to climb that wall, right? So, and now you can achieve a pitch like this without having to force your voice too much. Of course, there's always going to be like pitches that are way out of your range at the start, but achieving them by yelling will eventually like not be destructive to your voice, but it's not really gonna like teach your voice to reliably get them and use them in your voice, supposing that is what you want to do, if it's not singing. So yeah, that would be my recommendation. Take it slow, use very low airflow, so like don't push a lot of air, and slowly build your voice up. Like, be patient. It can take time to build up higher pitch ranges. I know I started when I first started my own voice practice, I couldn't go any higher than this pitch. I know it sounds crazy, but I couldn't go any higher than oh, sorry, no, that's wrong. I couldn't go any higher than this, right? Oh, and like that was my limit, right? And then I eventually learned to slowly bring it higher up and make all of this part of my range. Okay, hope that answers your question. All right, I'll take one question from the audience. All right, you were really quick. Sith Lord Regina, shoot, ask me your question.
Well, so for me, I've been able to manage a decently feminine voice, and I can manage it consistently for a while, but what I've noticed is that I tend to sound older than I actually am. Like, I'm told I sound like I'm in my mid to late 30s or early mid 40s. I'm only 26, and I was wondering if there was a way to sound younger.
Super easy answer. Higher pitches are the way to go. Like, right now, the voice you're portraying is generally like lower in pitch. Again, as I said before, lower voices around this pitch range tend to be heard more in mature women. And if they're not, they're used by by women that, have kind of like a very special kind of voice. So going for higher pitches is the way to go. You'll tend to find a bit more femininity in those higher pitches. Maybe try to bump your pitch up a little more. Try this. Match after me. All right, and from here, all right. Can we kind of like stay around here and speak about that range? Hello, hello.
Good morning, darling. How are you?
Okay, the start is really good. Good morning, darling. But like, so you're like really high. Good morning, darling, and then you go like really low in pitch, right? So I think it's because you like it. You like to go to lower pitches. Like maybe that's just your vibe, Like I think it slays for all that matters. Those voices are really expressive, right? So it's about finding expressiveness without having to resort to like good morning, darling, to like going to really low pitches. So maybe like something like, good morning, darling, Like generally you'll find she likes to be feared. Your name is Sith Lord. I mean, come on. I don't see a Sith Lord being like 18, or 26 in your case. So yeah, generally higher pitches. So get down to the pitch grind. I think that's what you would have liked to do a little bit of. Okay?
Makes sense. I think I prefer those deeper tones when I do go femme because like this is my baseline.
Yeah, this is your baseline. But like having this as a baseline does not
prevent you from going up here, So it's give or take. I think maybe you're more comfortable if you like that voice. Just say, "Hey, screw you! I like my voice to be low, and that's fine and fair. Good morning, darling." Then it's kind of nice, to also portray voices that are different. But yeah, it's entirely up to you,
Sure, and look, I've been only trying things out for a few months here, so more just trying to test the waters, see if I like it or not.
Beautiful. Well, then keep testing it out. You might find other waters that are warmer, better, or just different. And then you can jump into the cold pool, into the warm pool, into the cold pool, into the lukewarm pool. Who made that? Yeah. Anyways, there's many pools to visit, many waters to test. All right. I hope that answers your question, Regina. Or Sith Lord.
Thank you, Miss Savvy.
You're very welcome, Miss Regina. All right. Well then, let's wrap this up. I see a lot of faces, lots of questions, a lot of voices to work on. I'm sorry, I couldn't only go to a few of you, but as I do, usually I do those every Sunday now. instead of every other Sunday. So I'll be here next Sunday, so be sure to hop in there. I generally take always new people up on stage, so eventually, with time, it will be your turn to move up on stage. So, stay tuned for these workshops. I'll be wrapping this one up. So before I do, hey everyone, I have a Discord server. It's called Scientifically Augmented Voice. I teach public lessons over there. If you want to learn some stuff over there, you can. So yeah, you can join it with this link, or you can do one better. Just click on my name above here, and you can just click the link to join my Discord directly. It links right back to that. Other than that, I have a Discord account called savvy_sav, all in small letters. You can message me if you want to schedule a public or a private lesson with me. I teach voice feminization,
Voice masculinization.
I teach singing. I also teach voice acting, also human beatboxing with sounds such as. If you want to learn any of that, you can always shoot me a message on Discord. I'd be more than happy to teach you the ways of the royal voice. So yeah, y'all have a great day. Happy Mother's Day to those who are gonna party it. Do you say party Mother's Day? I mean, I hope you do. Anyways, y'all have a great one. I'll see you on the next Sunday. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.